You're watching KPIX5, your Bay Area sports station.
From the Metrodome in downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota, the NFL on CBS today, the 49ers of San Francisco against the Minnesota Vikings. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Dan Fouts, and welcome to downtown Minneapolis. Both the 49ers and Vikings 1-1, and trying to find some start to the season. Dan, they're such potentially prolific scoring teams, this could be a shootout.
Yeah, Bradshaw talks about being excited, but this is my kind of game. You know, this game, total points is going to be way up in the 80s, and that's what the Vikings have got to stop, the guys that wear 80. Number 80, Jerry Rice and John Taylor, and then the quarterback, Steve Young. But really, the big question is, how are the Vikings going to do against that depleted secondary of the 49ers? They've got a wide-open offense, and they're all happy about it.
49ers have won the toss. Fuad Reveiz will kick off for the Vikings. Last week in Atlanta, he kicked off 5 times. None were returned. This one will be taken by Dexter Carter, who had a 52-yard kickoff return last week, and he is down at the 24-yard line. 21 yards on the return. Steve Young gets the starting quarterback, of course. Joe Montana on the injured reserve list. Young is 8-4 as a starter. And offensively, in front of him, Steve Wallace, Guy McIntyre, Jesse Sapolu, Roy Foster, Harris Barton, and the tight end in the place of the injured Brent Jones is Jamie Williams. In the backfield, Carter Rathman, the wide receivers John Taylor and Jerry Rice. From the 24, 1st and 10. Taylor out to the 40-yard line, 1st down. That's a gain of 15. Defensively, Al Noga, Ken Clark, Henry Thomas, and Chris Dolman for the Vikings. And the linebackers, Jimmy Williams, Mark Dusbovic is out for the year with an injury. Barry and Mike Merriweather, Carl Lee, Reggie Rutland, Felix Wright, and Joey Browner in the secondary. 1st and 10. And Rathman and Keith Henderson now in the backfield. Henderson comes left. Breaks through 1 tackle and surges out to the 47-yard line. That's a gain of 8.
Henderson's the guy that most of the 49er offensive linemen feel most comfortable about carrying the ball. They like his size. They like the way he hits up in the middle. But the key really is his patience here. Watch as he just waits for that hole to open up and picks up a 9-yard gain.
2nd down and 1. Henderson with 93 yards. He is the leading ball carrier for the first 2 games for the 49ers. Obviously, with Roger Craig gone, and Craig in a diminished capacity last season, the ground attack has not been all powerful for the 49ers, but Henderson does move the chain and gets a 1st down.
And it's interesting, they started with Dexter Carter, the #1 pick from last year, on the very first play, but they got him out after that very first play and got Henderson in the ball game.
That's a gain of 4 and a 1st down at the 47-yard line.
Really a game of crazy eights for the Viking defense today. They got to stop number 80 Rice, 82 Taylor, and number 8 Steve Young.
Henry Thomas, number 97, saw him fouling the defensive line. 1st and 10. Play fake, Young back. Deep, Taylor incomplete. Carl Lee defending for the Vikings.
Well, Carl Lee has been to 3 straight Pro Bowls, and this is why. Real tight coverage this time on John Taylor, but this ball should have been caught. You see it slip right through Taylor's hands, something you don't see very often.
2nd down and 10, and Mike Sherrard has joined the 49er offense. 3 wide receiver set with Henderson, the running back, and Rathman. They have taken out Jamie Williams, the tight end. 2nd and 10, no score, opening series of the game. Henderson, Joey Browner with the tackle. And that's a gain down to the 44-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down, a gain of 4.
Well, you won't see that very often. Joey Browner being driven back after contact, but you've got to remember that Henderson goes about 220 pounds, and he lowered his shoulder into the jersey of number 47 there and got ahead for about 4.
Joey Browner, who has a couple of black belts in the martial arts, says it's amazing how much that helps him in one-handed tackling.
He's got the strongest hands in football.
3rd and 6, no score. Young back, not much pressure. Pumps once, twice. He'll run, pulls up, throws it. Incomplete. Henderson, the intended receiver. Merriweather with the cover.
Well, the pressure that the Vikings haven't been getting in the first 2 games, they get this time. There's a swipe by Henry Thomas, and now the how do you do from Thomas or John Randall there and Chris Dolman. But that's good pressure, but also good coverage in the secondary. Young had a lot of time to find a receiver and couldn't do it.
Well, Jerry Burns said yesterday he was very disappointed in his defensive team. 3rd and long against Atlanta last week. He'll have to like that. Here's Mojenko. That punt will bounce into the end zone, come out to the 20 after the touchback. Good start for the 49ers, but it comes to naught inside the 45-yard line. Minnesota has the football. Their one-back offense on the field when we come back. Wade Wilson will open at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. He was injured in Game 3 last year and was out for 7 weeks. Broke his thumb in Chicago. He engineers a one-back offense, and in the offensive line, Zimmerman, McDaniel, Loudermilk, Kalis, Tim Irwin, the tight end, perhaps the best in the league, Steve Jordan. Walker with 3 wide receivers, Jones and the Carters, Anthony and Chris. 1st and 10 from the 20. Chris Carter in motion. There's a flag down, and Herschel Walker surges for a couple of yards out near the 24-yard line. Pat Haggerty is our referee today.
Illegal substitution. Offense. Do not go inside the numbers.
Well, that's a first there. You know, the Vikings huddled on the sidelines as a group, and now it's being explained to Jerry Burns. But something about the receivers having to be inside the numbers
Yeah.
before the ball is snapped and then going out to their wide receiver positions. And that's a new one for Burnsy.
That's Howard Slavin who was trying to explain it to Burnsy. At any rate, it's a 5-yard penalty. 1st and 15. Same formation, Carter in motion. Wilson back, settles short for Chris Carter on a crossing pattern. Herschel Walker with a bit of a block, and that's a gain of about 8.
Well, everybody remembers a great catch that number 80 made last week against Atlanta, Chris Carter. But this is what the Vikings like to do, is have different levels to their passing game and then give these outstanding athletes a chance to run with the ball after the catch.
Chris Carter made a catch last week in Atlanta that is going to be on our every highlight film for the next 15 years. Said down on the field before the game, if I played 100 years, I couldn't do that again. Probably could, though. Here's Wilson back. Herschel Walker. Jackson with the tackle for the 49ers, first down.
The thing about this offense is that it's very similar to a run and shoot. Walker is coming out of the backfield. The 49ers try to blitz Wilson. Nobody there for the pickup on Walker. Johnny Jackson coming over a little bit later. But when you talk about the Viking offense and ask them, is it a run and shoot? They kind of say, hey, no way. We got a tight end in there. We've got a power runner in Herschel Walker. We have the ability to run the ball hard, but yet with these outstanding wide receivers, we can hit you if you try it, come up and play the run.
Herschel Walker with 6 catches for the season now, but he's been very effective on the ground. Play fake to Walker. Wilson, screen pass. Walker gets a block from Todd Kalis, number 69. And picks up a couple of yards to the 45. So 2 catches for Walker. Defensively, the 49ers are really hurting in the secondary. Here's their front line: Holt, Carter, and Fagan. The linebackers: Charles Haley, DeLong, Walter, and Romanowski. And in the secondary, they have lost both Darryl Pollard and Eric Davis to injured reserve. So Kevin Lewis starts at left cornerback, along with Griffin Jackson and Dave Waymer. 2nd down and 8. Got him.
That's a hard count there.
Got him.
Got Michael Carter. Hook, line, and offsides. Number 95 there jumps a little bit early. Had a companion going with him. But this is the first no-huddle team the 49ers have faced, and the Vikings will use a short huddle. They're all the way back this time, but it does disturb the defensive tempo, and what it does is it gives the offense back the control of the game.
2nd down and 3 now. Alfred Anderson is in the lineup. They line up in the I on short yardage. Now they split. Anderson 46 to the right. Only 1 carry this year. Walker directs him to the other side. Walker stuffed short of the 1st down. He did get across the 50. Michael Carter makes amends for the offside jump, and he's got the tackle.
Well, that's a way to make amends, is to come back on the very next play and make a big play. Walker appeared to have a good head of steam, but Michael Carter was so low, he just scrambled down there and got to Walker's legs before he could get going.
Michael Carter admits he got out of shape in the offseason, had a foot injury, kind of let things go, as you can see. He's lost 40 pounds. He's going to try and get down to 290. Dan asked if he was there yet, and he just smiled. 3rd down, Wilson. The need is 2. Wilson goes left. Diving try. Anthony Carter trapped it. Incomplete. It'll be 4th down. So the testing of the defenses continues. Both squads get across the 50 on their initial possessions, but they both have to punt.
Well, both teams had trouble on 3rd down conversions, and so far this year that has been the big problem. San Francisco on 3rd down is only about 35%, and the Vikings are even worse at 33%.
John Taylor back to return the punt at the 10-yard line. Harry Newsom has been outstanding in 2 games, just a shade under 50 yards per punt. If he does that this time, it'll be a touchback. Taylor lets it bounce. What a punt by Newsom. Alfred Anderson downs it at the 6. No score. 8:09 to go. 1st quarter. 49ers have the ball. Sellout crowd at the Metrodome, which will be the site of the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 26, January 26th on CBS. 8:09 to go 1st half, and the Vikings would like nothing better than to be the host team in that encounter. 49ers would like to get back into it.
Well, a lot of people are pointing at the Vikings schedule. It's a 5th place schedule, and after today there are no teams with winning records on that schedule.
Keith Henderson stays in the backfield. Wesley Walls is the tight end. He's in motion. Young back, goes deep, right side. Contact and no flag. Carl Lee, the defender, on Jerry Rice. And pretty good coverage.
Outstanding coverage and a real good throw, too. This is the man who many consider the best in football of all time already in just his 7th year. This ball is real close, and that's real close to being pass interference as he grabbed Rice's left arm just as the ball was coming.
Whoa, real close.
Yeah, heads up play. Heads up play and a heads down play for the referee.
So the Vikings get a break at 2nd and 10. Henderson, fumble, but I heard a whistle.
And you see Bob Wagner, number 100 there, the referee. He's our umpire.
Well, that evens things out. You had a no call on the interference and a quick whistle on the fumble.
It's funny how those things work out, isn't it? Henderson told me earlier in the week that his goal is to be the starting tailback by mid-season. Well, he keeps running like this. He's got to hang on to that ball, of course. That is a fumble, folks, so it does even out. with the no call on the pass interference and the no call here on the apparent fumble.
Well, just parenthetically, Jerry Seaman, the new director of officiating for the National Football League, is here today.
I think I just saw him cringe twice.
Grades are out early. 3rd and 6. Henderson, first down at the 19-yard line. Jimmy Williams made the tackle.
A lot of people are saying, why don't the 49ers change their offense for Steve Young? And his response to that is why. This offense has been the best offense in football for about 10 or 11, 12, 13 years, ever since Bill Walsh started to get the players that he wanted in there. And you can see that with Mike Holmgren, the offensive coordinator, he's expanded a lot on this offense, and it's just as effective as ever.
Steve Young is fresh from the best day of his career. 3 touchdowns. 328 yards last week. Is Young with pressure, incomplete. And Chris Dolman, who is looking for his first sack of the season, almost had it.
Well, this is almost as good as a sack. They call this a pressure, and believe me, this is what it feels like. Young has nowhere to go to begin with, and it's the first guy, Henry Thomas, who chases him out of the pocket. The second guy is Dolman, and he's doing an outstanding job of just staying after Steve Young, the most elusive quarterback in football right now that Randall Cunningham is sidelined.
Chris Dolman, who had 21 sacks 2 years ago, 11 a year ago, looking for his first in game 3. Here's Henderson on the pitch. Cut down by Ray Berry, number 50. Ray Berry now a full-time starter at middle linebacker, assuming the spot held with such distinction for so many years by Scott Studwell. Washington with an early lead over Phoenix. We are scoreless, 6:29 to go in the first quarter. 49ers will go with 4 wide receivers. 3rd and 8. Whoops. Al Noga came offside. See if Harris Barton drew him off or Noga encroached.
That is the key, Vern. If he came across the line and didn't make contact, then he has the ability to get back and the right to get back. You saw on the left side of the line for the 49ers, Steve Wallace moved. Now he may be called for being offsides, a false start for the 49ers. That's what the discussion is about right now.
False start, 74 offense.
Was Steve Wallace.
And I'm not so sure that's really a fair call, although Wallace was a long way away from the guy that jumped into the neutral zone there. But there's been a lot of talk about Steve Wallace and playing in domes and the problems that he had as a right tackle in the opener last year against New Orleans at the Superdome. He told us yesterday that his right ear is his good ear. So that's the ear now that's to the quarterback. His left ear, because of a childhood infection, is only 40%. So that was the problem last year. But he's on the left side now, good ear to the quarterback.
3rd and 13. And it's a conversion to John Taylor out to the 33-yard line. Felix Wright with the tackle. That's a gain of 17.
Well, we're watching Young perform pretty well here. This is outstanding pass protection. And when you can step up in the pocket and throw the ball like he does here, he's going to make a lot of yards throwing to 82 and 80.
John Taylor thus far this season with 6 receptions. First down after the gain of 17. Ball at the 33, 5:20 to go, first half. Young 3 of 7. Rolls out. Merriweather, boy, oh boy. Merriweather knew where the sideline was. He was about to deliver a blow, as they say, and he kind of pulled the plug on it.
Gave him a nice little bump, left his calling card perhaps. But when you're chasing Steve Young, you're not chasing an ordinary quarterback. This guy has outstanding running instincts. And Merriweather, nice job of pulling off there. he was tempted to really lay out Steve Young.
Merriweather, the leading tackler through 2 games for the Vikings. Second down, 4:55 to go. Scoreless first quarter. Backs are split. Taylor starts right, comes back left. Rathman. There's a missed tackle behind the line by Ken Clark, but he did slow him up enough to get him down. Ken Clark, who has had a lengthy career.
And last year against the 49ers had an outstanding afternoon. He recorded 3 sacks. A couple were against Joe Montana, but he did say he got Young one time. Talking about the pressure that the Vikings haven't been able to get on the quarterback, Dolman told us yesterday that he feels that it's not always going to be the first guy in on Young that's going to get the sack. It's going to be the second guy. So in other words, it's important for all 4 guys up front to give it their all every play.
He said they can't have guys waiting to be the second man. Third down. Backs are split. Young, Jerry Rice bobbles the ball. Incomplete pass. There was a moment when it appeared possession had been ruled, but it is now said to be incomplete.
He had possession, but he was off the ground.
No 2 feet on the ground.
Absolutely. His feet, the ball pops out after he makes the grab, but his feet never get down the ground. Watch the hit here. It's going to be Joey Browner, number 47, closing. There's possession there. Well, maybe not. Never quite had it. Big hit from Joey Browner.
Yep, not much doubt it was incomplete.
Take another look here, but that's a drop pass.
And as a result, Ralph Moshenko is back to punt for the second time. Leo Lewis waits at the 20. Lewis bobbled one last week in Atlanta and has averaged only 2.3 yards per return. That is a poor punt, however. And a modest return to the 29-yard line. So the 49ers have had it twice, zip thus far. After a 42-yard punt and a 7-yard return, the Vikings have it on offense for the second time. Full house in the Metrodome. Vern Lundquist and Dan Fouts with you. No score from San Francisco and Minnesota. These 2 teams have meant so much to each other in recent years. George Seifert's ball club won here in the last game of the 1990 season, 20-17, putting a period to a dismal season for Minnesota. Here's Wilson, pulls up, fires it. That could be intercepted. It is. Kevin Lewis has the pick. It's the first of the season for the second-year man from Northwest Louisiana. He's a man in the spotlight today, and he picks off the deflected ball.
Well, Wilson has to move around, checking out his alternate receivers. He finally finds one, throws the ball a little bit hard, but you can understand why. That ball should have been caught by Alfred Anderson, hit him right in the throat, and there's Lewis with his first pick.
And for Wade Wilson, 3 interceptions in game 1 against Chicago, 1 last week. This one will be credited to him, or debited,
or
and
discredited.
Should be Alfred Anderson. Young hands it off to Henderson. He comes left and runs into Chris Dolman. And Reggie Rutland, number 48, with some supplemental help.
But again, it's Henderson falling forward and picking up extra yardage after he makes contact. His offensive linemen love to look up and see that down marker move down the field. They like to see that 2nd and 5, that 2nd and 4. And that's what Henderson provides for the 49ers when he's healthy.
Well, continued speculation. You may have heard something about it again on the NFL today with Greg and Terry about the possible acquisition of Bobby Humphrey from Denver. Second down, split backs, play action, Young back. Across the middle, John Taylor. Felix Wright with a tackle, first down, 49ers at the 15-yard line.
The one thing when you play the 49ers is you can't gang up on Jerry Rice, because number 82, John Taylor, will kill you. That's 3 catches already in the first quarter for Taylor. And the Vikings know this, but it's this age-old question. You can't double-team everybody. Good play-action pass that time. That gave Taylor time to work deep in that secondary.
Steve Young now 4 out of 9, 58 yards. First down at the 15 after the 17-yard gain. No score, late first quarter. Young fade pattern. Jerry Rice, touchdown. And a flag on Reggie Rutland. That is number 83 for his career.
So difficult to guard Jerry Rice, but one thing you have to do at some point is you have to look back for the football. Watch number 48, Reggie Rutland, at the end of this play. Never looks back. Instead, he grabs Rice as he heads to the corner here. Watch number 48. There's the interference and a perfect pass from Steve Young for the touchdown.
Interference call denied, of course, and Jerry Rice, 15 yards, touchdown from Steve Young. He had a 73-yarder in week 1, the Monday night loss to the Giants, and complained about not being involved enough in the offense. So last week, here you are, Mr. Rice, 9 for 150.
Yeah, and 83 in his career is only 17 from the all-time record of Steve Largent. He might get 17 all this year.
49ers convert the turnover into a Jerry Rice touchdown.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Jerry Burns, the Viking head coach, perhaps in his final season. He's not yet made that decision. His ball club 6-10 a year ago. They got off to a 1-4 start, then won 5 in a row, but struggled at the end of the season when it appeared they might get back in the playoffs. And with this 5th place schedule, a lot of folks think they should do very well this year, but right now they trail by 7. Michael Kofer will kick it deep to number 20, Darren Nelson. Nelson, 2 yards in, will bring it out. To the 27-yard line. For Nelson, a return of 29 yards. Harry Sidney with the tackle. 36 yards in 3 plays. It only took 90 seconds, and of course the key play was the interception by Kevin Lewis, and then the touchdown, Young to Rice.
And you throw in a nice pass to John Taylor that got the 49ers down inside the 20-yard line, where they've struggled a little bit this year. They're not going to struggle long when you got Rice to go into the corner, though.
1st and 10, Vikings, 2:01 to go, first quarter. Walker with the carry. And Michael Walter is up high. Michael Carter down low to help on the tackle. Washington extends its lead over Phoenix to 2 touchdowns. And the Giants in Chicago continue scoreless. Philadelphia has an early lead over Dallas. Don Shula in quest of his 300th career win today in Detroit. Walker with 2 carries for 3 yards now. It's 2nd down and 9. One, 2, 3 flags. Charles Haley.
See the face shield he's wearing there.
Number 69, offense, still 2nd down.
Todd Kalis is offside. Yeah, he's one of those who got
He got the old Mo, Curly, and Larry shot last week against the Chargers. Poked in the eye. The culprit was Broderick Thompson of the Chargers, and having played with Broderick, I know he's not a vicious guy, but he does like to go to the head with his first shot out of his stance. And he's got real long fingers.
2nd and 13. Wilson, and a crossing pattern again underneath this time for Anthony Carter. Gain of 11. It'll be 3rd down. Final 50 seconds, first quarter.
The key to the 49ers' success today is probably a guessing game as to when on defense they double Anthony Carter, Hassan Jones, or Chris Carter. But with this guy here, Romanowski, will be out on the field because he has the ability to stay with the tight end, Steve Jordan, man-to-man.
Got it. Steve Jordan with his first catch. First down, Minnesota. That's a gain of 10. Jordan, who caught 8 in the first game of the season against Chicago. And that will be the final play of the first quarter. Well, it was a turnover. Wilson's pass intercepted by Kevin Lewis, and then a touchdown toss. Young to Rice. That's the end of the first quarter with our score 7-0 San Francisco.
In Toronto, they're talking pennant. The first-place Blue Jays battle the power of Jose Canseco and the Oakland A's next Saturday.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Comfort Tech Shoes by Florsheim. Try a pair and get comfortable. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars. And by Miller Lite. It's it, and that's that.
We're back at the Metrodome in downtown Minneapolis. The 49ers and the Minnesota Vikings. Vern Lundquist along with Dan Fouts. Game 3 of the 1991 season. 49ers have won the last 4 meetings between these two teams, including twice in the playoffs. The last Minnesota win was a huge victory in the playoffs in Candlestick in 1987. But things have not gone well for the team in purple since then. They do have a 1st and 10 now at their own 41-yard line. Kirk Loudermilk the center. Walker out to the 49-yard line. Herschel Walker, I was here the day he was acquired by the Vikings from Dallas, and he rushed for 148 yards. Returned the opening kickoff of the game, 60-some yards, and lost a shoe. Until last week, that was the last game he had rushed for over 100 yards, and last week 125.
Well, they finally figured out a way to get all these outstanding athletes on the field at the same time. They say this offense isn't designed around Herschel Walker, but he is the only back in the backfield.
2nd down and 6. Wilson into the flat for Herschel Walker. Chris Carter did a pretty good job with a block downfield. Number 80 blocking on Don Griffin.
Yeah, you know, Chris Carter goes about 200 pounds here, and this is really a nice job of blocking. They call this chicken fighting, where they just kind of get in each other's face and you push them back and you just fight with your hands a little bit. And that time the strong hands of Chris Carter won.
Who calls it chicken fighting?
The chickens. No, the wide receivers do.
Here's the jumbo with McDaniel in the backfield. 4th time that he has been in the backfield this year. And it's a 1st down to Walker. Now that's a new twist. They put Randall McDaniel, number 64, as a blocking back. This is the 4th time they've run it, and they have gained over 50 yards on this play.
Well, he's number 64. He's going to lead over the left side here, and Walker does a nice job of not following him that time, and he took it straight up the middle. But McDaniel attracted so much defensive attention, that left a big hole right up the gut.
Now he, by rule, has to come out for 1 play because he had lined up there. And it's 1st down at the 41, 7-0, 49ers lead. Wilson and Pat Haggerty had a part in all of that. And will that be ruled an incomplete pass? Now, Haggerty's going to have some help from the umpire. It's going to be ruled an incomplete. Haggerty was in no position to see it. Incomplete pass. Haggerty was flat on his back.
You got to run over. Watch number 40 here in a black and white shirt as Wilson heads his way, and Pat with a little bit of trouble getting out of his back pedal there. Believe me, I know how that feels. I've done that enough times myself. Says, oh my goodness, they're coming my way. He's a tough little guy though. Yep, a little bruised nose. He's okay.
2nd down and 10. He's taking a deeper stance in the backfield though. He's a little farther back. He's moved from 12 to 17 yards. Haley with the rush. And the tackle comes from the other side. Pierce Holt, his 1st sack of the year.
And this is the 5th sack for the 49ers on the year. And watch how tenacious they are. Fagan here, there's Haley. This is from the right side, but out of the left side will come Pierce Holt. And they're just always on their feet. They're a defense that doesn't get a lot of respect because they don't have the superstar names, but they play the team concept very well, and they're just relentless in their pass rush.
Gary Zimmerman limps off the field in the offensive line for the Minnesota Vikings. Craig Wolfley has taken his spot at left tackle. On 3rd down, Wilson back. Across the middle for Anthony Carter. Oh, boy, is that pretty to watch when he gets in the open field. Touchdown!
Now the 49ers are complaining that Carter was down, but this is another short crossing route, giving the Viking receivers the ability to run with the ball after the catch. This is what the 49ers are talking about right here, as here's the tackle, or is it? His knee never goes down. He's back up. Johnny Jackson thought he had him, but there's nobody in football any better than Anthony Carter making the dramatic play.
Listen to the ovation for the alertness of Anthony Carter.
And of course they're reviewing it upstairs in the press box, but if they're looking at the view we just saw, this is an all-pro play for the touchdown.
46 yards for Anthony Carter. 83 consecutive games now in which he has caught a pass.
Well, you know that he knows Jerry Rice is on the other side of the field. Let's take another look at it here. Just really heads up. He takes a heck of a shot from Jackson, but the left knee is about 4 inches from going down. A heads-up play by Carter. Still has the speed to get in the corner of the end zone. There's just not many guys that are going to give you this type of effort.
The key is the left knee.
And it never hits this fake grass.
It is being reviewed, and the replay official is Bill Stanley, so it certainly doesn't seem there's anything conclusive enough to overrule it. Touchdown goes. Boy, that was pretty.
Well, you know Carter doesn't want to play second fiddle today to anybody. A lot of great receivers on this field today.
Last week it was Chris Carter with the acrobatic one-handed catch. Today it's Anthony Carter with the alert move, never slowing down after the realization that his knee had not touched down. That hit him. 46 yards. Anthony Carter with the tying touchdown. We're notched at 7. We are tied on the scoreboard 7-all. Very even statistically. The 49ers 5 yards shy of Minnesota. 1 turnover Minnesota. That interception led to the touchdown. Steve Young 50% for 73 yards. And Anthony Carter with a 46-yard touchdown reception that just tied it up.
That was Carter's first touchdown reception of the year. Last week he got his first career rushing touchdown on a wonderfully executed, and again when you see the guy, he just makes it look so easy. He's so smooth out there. He got in against the Falcons on a 14-yard reverse.
Fuad Reveas will kick off. Dexter Carter waits for it. Touchback. No! Decides to come out. Shouldn't have.
Well, you should have yelled louder, Vern. He didn't hear you.
There's a scramble for the ball, but Carter was ruled down. Well, more exciting action for you next week. A doubleheader on CBS. Most of you will watch the Redskins at Cincinnati or Minnesota at New Orleans. And then in the second half of our doubleheader, the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. It all begins with the NFL today. The last word before kickoff. Roy Foster, Plan B acquisition. At right guard, 7-7 ball game, first down and 10. Taylor starts in motion. Young followed by Dolman. finds Jamie Williams, the tight end, and that's a gain of 12 and a first down.
Well, maybe the 49ers are going to change their offense just a little bit for Steve Young, because you've got to take advantage of his speed. Number one, he gets out of trouble and can roll out, throw the ball on the run very well. And this guy is kind of the forgotten man in that secondary, Jamie Williams. Not noted as a great pass receiver, but Young laid that one in nice and soft.
Jamie was known for the length of his hair for many, many years. He had the dreadlocks, and now he's gotten rid of them completely. We were teasing him yesterday. So what's the deal? He said, I'm just getting ready for the corporate world.
He's selling out is what he's doing.
Young chased by Jimmy Williams. Harry Sidney, there is a flag on the near side of the field. Sidney has a first down if the play stands. A flag was thrown a long way away from the action.
It's going to be defensive holding against the Vikings in the secondary. So they're going to refuse this, take the nice gain for Harry
Defensive
Sidney.
holding during the run, number 47.
Joey Browner.
One thing the 49ers have been notorious about is leg whipping. Watch McIntyre, number 62, come out here and throw that right leg up there and knocks Ray Berry down. A legal play, but a very controversial one nonetheless.
You hear more fingers pointed at the techniques of the 49er offensive line, I think, than almost any other team in the NFL. And that's nothing new. That's been for years.
Well, and Bob McKittrick is the offensive line coach for the 49ers, and he is the eye of that storm for his teaching techniques.
First down after the Sidney catch. 7-7 ball game, 10:45 to go in the first half. Here is Keith Henderson. He scored through the arms of Mike Merriweather. Henderson, whose career, short though it is, has been hampered by injuries. And he's been the workhorse now in the absence of Roger Craig.
And even this summer, he was bothered with a hip pointer on his left side. But he knew that this is probably a make or break year for him. Coming off of a couple of knee surgeries, he knew that he had to make his chance a good one, especially with Roger Craig heading down south.
7 carries for 32 yards for Henderson. Second down and 5. Walls in motion. Double tight end set. Young goes deep. Down the middle for Jerry Rice. It doesn't seem to matter how close the coverage is, the catch is made.
And the key are these big white gloves he's wearing there. Watch again. This is Reggie Rutland, never looking back for the ball. He has got great coverage on Rice, but watch. He's a half a second slow getting to the ball.
Reggie Rutland is down. He took a shoulder from Felix Wright, who came over to help on the tackle. Reggie Rutland, the right cornerback of the Minnesota Vikings.
And that's adding injury to insult.
29 yards on the catch at the 15-yard line. And the team position of the Vikings is out on the field. Rutland.
Watch at the end of this play as those big white gloves come up and make the grab. There's Rutland's right hand, and now here's the lick from Felix Wright. And it just catches him on the point of that right shoulder.
Rutland walks off without assistance, but in obvious pain. And Audrey McMillan has taken his spot now. 29-yard gain, so back-to-back plays now by Sidney and Rice. Then for Jerry Rice, 2 catches for 45 yards. He lines up wide left on McMillan. Top of the screen. First and 10. Young picked off by McMillan. His first of the year.
Well, and you can hang this interception on the quarterback. Steve Young throws it behind Jerry Rice, and that is exactly where Audrey McMillan is. Ball is not thrown out far enough in front of the receiver. A little bit late, and that's a heck of a way to start your afternoon, Audrey McMillan.
Turnovers are even now, 1 apiece. Score is still tied, 7-7. 3 of the 1991 season. Vern Lundquist and Dan Fouts. I think it's important to note, Dan, that the top 4 running backs in the league through the first 2 weeks are all 5'9.5" or better. Shorter, that is, but
well,
better.
Yeah, and they could all fit in this booth, couldn't they?
That was the whole point. You see, they can stand here. It's a rather small booth, but for some of us, it's no problem. For my partner, it's a headache.
Gotta get my helmet on.
7-7 ball game. Up the middle, Herschel Walker. Out to the 12.
Now, this is why the Viking coaching staff says, hey, this isn't any run and shoot offense. We've got power. We've got Steve Jordan as our tight end and a 230-pound tailback, Herschel Walker, who does this awfully well. Just straight ahead power. And it looked like he's pulling the bobsled number 94 that time instead of pushing it.
10 passes, 5 rushes thus far. This is the 16th play for the Vikings. They had only 49 plays in their win at Atlanta last week. That pass complete to Hassan Jones out to the 15-yard line. Interesting, in this one-back set, Dan, you've got the 3 wide receivers, the tight end and the running back. Hassan Jones had only 1 ball thrown to him last week, and he wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, and I asked Chris Carter, are there enough balls to go around for you guys? He says, well, the key really is patience, but also the key is winning. When you win football games, it doesn't matter if you don't catch any. You hope that next week you'll get yours.
Well, you hear so much about people who run after the catch. Look at this. 90 yards after the catch to 33 for San Francisco. Walker surges across the 20 near the 21. Charles Haley with the tackle.
A lot of people criticize the running style of Herschel Walker, saying that he uses these choppy little steps and he never really opens up as a runner. But those choppy little steps really serve him well between the tackles. Drags a lot of people with him for a lot of yards.
Herschel's taken a beating in the media in the last couple of years, so he's gone the silent route now. He's not talking to the press for a while, at least. 7-7 game, 7:27 to go. Wilson. Here is some more running after the catch. Chris Carter. A gain of 12.
Well, few teams have these types of receivers and the Vikings are willing, and Wilson is willing to take the short route because he'll know he'll get production like this. There's one guy missing, and now another poor linebacker is outrun. And watch at the end of the play as Carter leaps over a defensive back. Gets a little help from AC on the outside as well.
Chris Carter with 2 catches for 21 yards. And the Vikings call timeout. That is the first of their 3.
Minnesota, number 1.
And it comes with 6 minutes and 47 seconds remaining in the first half. We are tied 7-7.
You are now free people. Yes, I root openly for 49ers.
No, you cheer for Rams and big offensive weapon Jim Everett.
No. Yes.
7-7 ball game, 6:47 to go first half. Vern Lundquist and Dan Fouts. The 49ers with some defensive line changes. Larry Roberts, Ted Washington, and Dennis Brown, numbers 91, 97, and 96 respectively are in there.
49ers feel this is their best defensive line since Fred Dean, Louis Kelcher, Gary Johnson, and Dwayne Board. So they're all going to see action today.
Haley joins them in a down position. The handoff on the reverse. Anthony Carter. And that's good for a gain of 9. Dan told you he scored from 14 out last week in Atlanta.
And Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator for the Vikings, told me earlier in the week it's important for the offensive team, the Vikings, to stay on schedule. And by that he means to have normal down and distance situations. 1st and 10, 2nd and 5, 3rd and 3 or less. And so far that's what the Vikings are doing.
2nd down and 1. Waymer is up on the line, shadowing Chris Carter. Dave Waymer, number 43. Walker should have the first down. Bill Romanowski, number 53, made the tackle.
Now, talking about those great defensive line of the 49ers, I mentioned Kelcher, Dean, and Johnson, all former teammates of mine.
Exactly.
Yeah, they jumped ship, went north, picked up a bunch of jewelry.
Got the ring.
Yeah, and
Plural.
Louis got the world's biggest one.
Drop a 50-cent piece through it.
A silver dollar.
1st and 10. 7-7 game. Play fake. Wilson. Nice play fake. Lobs it to Hassan Jones, and he's got another first down. That's a gain of 11. Second catch for Jones. Well, this drive began back at the 2-yard line following Audrey McMillan's interception.
Well, Wilson's going to come out here, and he's looking downfield real deep here for a receiver, and he does not go to Hassan Jones until the last minute. There's Jones faking his block, nobody to block, and now outside, watch Wilson. I said, heck, I'll throw it to this guy. He was looking for something bigger down the field.
Could have handed it to him. It's a first down in a 7-7 game at the 49er 43. Fake the reverse, give it to Walker up the middle. And he plunges inside the 40 near the 38-yard line.
Boy, right now that offensive line of the Vikings is really taking it to the second team line of the 49ers. In fact, 2 of them are going out of the game right now, Washington and Brown. But so far, you've got to give a lot of credit to that purple group up front for the Vikes.
DeLong joins them on the sideline. That offensive line, Kirk Loudermilk the center. Kalis McDaniel the guards. Tim Irwin and Gary Zimmerman are the tackles. Wilson back, fires right side, incomplete. Jordan a little bit behind him.
Yeah, and Jordan was losing his footing. It appeared at the end of that play after he came out of his break. This AstroTurf is real sticky, and if you can, sometimes you just barely stub your toe, and that's enough to send you down to the ground.
There's Mark Trestman, the quarterback coach. Now he will signal in the play. The huddle, as you have seen, takes place only 2 yards from the football. They call it a bunch huddle. We figured out over the course of the game, they saved themselves 520 yards walking.
Like a bunch of purple grapes.
That's unless if the huddle had been back the normal 10 yards. Blitz coming. Wilson, good protection. Wide open, Hassan Jones. Kevin Lewis slipped down.
Now this is an impressive throw by Wade Wilson. The blitz was coming, as you said, Vern, right up the middle is Walter, but watch as the protection is there, and Wilson had the confidence, number one, to hang in the pocket, and then he threw this ball before Jones made his cut, and he was paid off very nicely with a nice gain down inside the 20-yard line. That's a big confidence booster for not only the quarterback, but that entire offensive team.
3 for 41, equaling the number of catches he had in the first 2 games. And a first down at the 17-yard line. Walker pushed backward as he nudges inside the 15.
Well, former number 1 pick Keith DeLong is going to make this play here, number 95 from the left side of the screen. And he comes and really he explodes on Herschel. Herschel was up in the air, and once you leave the ground, you have no more power, and you're very easily turned back, as DeLong did that time.
Minnesota inside the 20, only 1 touchdown, 2 field goals. This is the 12th play of this drive, 2nd down and 9. Short setup, slant pattern, first and goal. Anthony Carter.
Well, we got zone coverage for the 49ers this time and double team. This is Johnny Jackson and this is Don Griffin. Carter's going to go down and in on the slant pattern, and this is a perfect throw by Wade Wilson. You got to throw this one hard, and you've got to throw it low. In case it's not caught, the ball will go down. But when you're throwing it to AC, he's going to make this catch almost every time.
Anthony Carter holding his ribs as he came off. First and goal from the 1. McDaniel in the backfield. Walker. Touchdown.
this is a heck of a 98-yard drive right behind McDaniel that time. And you can see the difference in this play. There was no penetration by the 49er defensive line. Watch DeLong and McDaniel get together right here. Boom. Up and over. Touchdown Vikings, and a heck of a drive.
14 plays, 98 yards, set up by Audrey McMillan's pass interception at the 2. After the 49ers were threatening to go on top. Well, ironically enough, here's the call from Pat Haggerty.
False start, 74. Offense, prior to snap.
Had to think about it.
Well, he's still shaking up a little bit. Another guy is shaking up just a touch, but he knows he got his team right down to the doorstep.
So after the 5-yard penalty on Brian Habib, Fuad Revez will try the extra point from the 15-yard line. It is good. There's another flag, however. This one thrown on the far side of the line of scrimmage.
Offside, defense, number 1.
So the extra point is good. A 98-yard drive has given the Vikings a 7-point lead.
The Battles of October, the League Championship Series, coming soon.
AT&T, the right choice. In the 1975 playoffs, Roger Staubach launched one of the most famous passes in NFL history when he put up the Hail Mary pass. What receiver answered Staubach's prayer? Wide receiver Golden Richards, tight end Billy Joe Dupree, or wide receiver Drew Pearson? Which would you choose? Roger Staubach's favorite clutch receiver was Drew Pearson, who caught the Hail Mary pass. If you said Pearson, you made the right choice.
Next Saturday, our coverage of Major League Baseball features the first-place Toronto Blue Jays and the Oakland Athletics. The game has 2 of the biggest sluggers in the game, Joe Carter and Jose Canseco, chasing Cecil Fielder for the home run title. The Blue Jays struggling to stay on top of the AL East, and the Oakland A's are trying a new role this year, that of spoiler. The day begins with Baseball 91 at 2:30 Eastern, updating all the news around the major leagues.
Did you see the shot that Cecil Fielder put out of Milwaukee County Stadium yesterday? Yeah. First guy ever to hit it out of left field. And Sparky he couldn't believe it in the Tiger dugout.
Anthony Carter still limping a little bit after that catch that set up the touchdown. Revez, well, in the preseason, it came down to a choice between Donald Igwe-Buike or Fuad Revez. And the reason Jerry Burns opted to stay with Revez is because of kickoffs, and there's a pretty good example of why.
It's so important to force the opponent to drive 80 yards. It's a very difficult thing to do, and when you put it that deep in the end zone, that's exactly what the Niners are faced with here.
Difficult to go 80 yards, even more difficult to go 98, which is what the Minnesota Vikings did. Walker with the touchdown after the Audrey McMillan pass interception when the 49ers were threatening to go on top. Young, Dexter Carter, Reggie Rutland misses the tackle, and Carter is out of bounds at the 28-yard line.
Well, you wonder about Rutland and his shoulder. You saw little Dexter Carter break his tackle there. Rutland reached out with his right hand, but Carter got underneath it and powered forward close to the first down.
Total offense thus far, Minnesota 152 and the 49ers 73. 98 of the 152 in this quarter came on that long touchdown drive. Carter, fumble. John Randall made the hit. Who got the ball?
Well, this is the old scrum now.
That's rugby.
Well, you know what they're doing down there is they're actually sticking little things underneath guys' fingernails to get them to release the grip on the ball. They're bending elbows and twisting noses in the whole bit.
Now Browner comes out of the huddle with the ball.
Well, he's got those strong hands, you know, and he's probably got gloves on so they can't get anything under his fingernails. But there's the ball out. Randall with a big hit there in the backfield. Find out who gets it. It's Dexter Carter.
Well, the 49ers have been awarded possession of the ball, so somebody saw someone with it. Maybe Joe Montana sent a message to him. Coming up with the NFL Today Dockers halftime report, Greg and Terry will have all the scores, highlights, and latest information from around the league. And a look at Buffalo's high-powered offense.
Now I want to see Bradshaw get inside a no huddle.
It's a physical impossibility.
Only he could do it, though.
That's right. He talked his way in. 14-7. 49ers have all 3 timeouts left. 3rd and 6. Mike Merriweather.
They have so many outstanding athletes on this football team, and Mike Merriweather is certainly one of them. Young has no chance. From the left side, watch Merriweather with a free run at the quarterback, and Young is lucky just to hang on to the ball. Just a blur, and that's a big play for the Viking defense. They're going to turn the ball back over, and they've called their second time out of this first half, so they're going to get good field position and a lot of time to get some points.
Well, we chatted with Chris Dolman yesterday about the disappointment, if one may use that word, for the Vikings the last couple of years, particularly last season. And he's a very loquacious man and has some insight. And Chris said, you know, this has always been regarded as a players' team, and this year the players just have to take over and get things done.
Well, one of the things that face the Vikings is their age. They have 16 guys that are 30 years of age or older, and the timing may be just right for them. They believe the fact that they got the easier schedule and the big game is going to be in this dome.
4th down. Moshenko to punt. Another poor one. Leo Lewis on the run.
And one of those guys who is over 30, in fact, Leo Lewis is 34, and the reason he's been around so long is because he uses his head. How many times do you see return men let that ball hit the ground? Watch, he's in a full sprint coming up to it. He knows the worst he can do is be down at the 50, but he picks up an extra almost 20 yards here and sets up his offense in fantastic shape.
Well, that makes amends for last week when he had a fumbled punt return. He is the all-time leading punt returner for the Vikings. Matter of fact, he'll turn 35 next Tuesday. Walker.
Well, it's a draw play for Herschel Walker. Here he is. Wilson comes back, and then it's off to the races and into the secondary for Herschel Walker. Great job there of Loudermilk getting out in front and bothering linebackers.
Gain of 13 for Walker. He's got 46 yards. They'll give it to him again. Down to the 15-yard line. 1:06 remaining in the first half. Now down near the 1-minute mark.
Well, and the Vikings use this no-huddle offense all the time, so they feel real comfortable in this situation. This is what it was originally designed for, the hurry-up offense.
Wilson looking left all the way. Carter leaping. No flag. Dave Waymer defending. Waymer, who is playing with a very sore ankle.
Yeah, he's not the only guy in that secondary. Merton Hanks has one, as does Todd Bowles, but Waymer is a veteran, been around 12 years, smart guy, knows that the Vikings like to put the ball up to Chris Carter in this situation, and that's as close a coverage as you could possibly have as the ball just goes out of those. You know, maybe Chris Carter should have tried one hand.
Wilson thought he had it. It'll be 3rd down, 14-7. Vikings lead, and they need 7. Running play. Whoa.
Boy, that'll get some boos out of this crowd. 3rd and 7, and they go to the sweep, and everybody knows in Minnesota that Herschel Walker doesn't run the sweep very well. They're going to let this clock run all the way down to about under 8 seconds before they line up to try the field goal.
Fuad Reves will come on. Reves has hit his last 10 field goals for the Vikings. 2 of 2 this season. He didn't try one last week.
And this is why the Vikings saved their last time out. We're right about now.
There it is.
Gotta wonder about the play selection there, though. You've got Carters, both of them, Chris and Anthony, and they both have the ability, as does Jordan and Hassan Jones, to leap for the ball and out-jump defenders.
Particularly the sweep on 3rd and 7, Herschel Walker.
They really only gave Wilson one shot at it with the pass to Chris Carter on the goal line.
Fuad Reves will try and extend the Minnesota lead. We were talking a moment ago about this 5th place schedule, and Jerry Burns, the Viking coach, doesn't like to talk about it, but in truth, the toughest 5 games, it would appear, for Minnesota are the first 5 games of the season. And if they could just get through the month of September and the first part of October anywhere close to the lead, I think they feel good about their chances in the division. 31-yard effort for Reves. He's now hit 11 in a row for the Minnesota Vikings. So the punt return by Leo Lewis sets up a 31-yard field goal, and that is the end of the first half with the score. Minnesota 17, the San Francisco 49ers 7.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Lexus and the new ES300 Sports Sedan. AT&T, the right choice. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. The NFL Today Dockers Halftime Report is sponsored by Levi's Dockers. Relax, you're among friends.
Welcome back to our studios, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw. Let's run down the scoreboard, shall we? And we'll begin in Washington at RFK Stadium, where at halftime the Redskins are leading the Phoenix Cardinals by a score of 14-0. Head coach Joe Gibbs, lifetime 17-3 against the Cards and going well today. Here's Mark Rippon finding Ernest Biner out of the backfield, and before he stopped, Biner will go 31 yards to end the first quarter and set up this touchdown to start the second quarter.
You normally run reverses against teams that over-pursue. Phoenix obviously over-pursuing. There's a reverse to Sanders. Get your best blocker out front. That always is the quarterback.
The Cardinals have been getting the key turnovers, but Tom Tupa's thrown 2 interceptions inside the 20-yard line. Redskins lead at 14-0. Halftime at Soldier Field in Chicago, the Bears over the defending world champion New York Giants, 13-0. And watch Harbaugh to Wendell Davis.
Yeah, this is a great play action. The play action flow away, took the weak safety completely out of the middle, allowed Wendell Davis to get down one-on-one on the corner. No help in the middle. Nice pass from Harbaugh.
176 yards passing for Jim Harbaugh in the first half of that game. Halftime in Dallas, the Eagles with a 17-point lead over the Cowboys. Troy Aikman sacked 5 times, has thrown 3 interceptions. Halftime in Minnesota, the Vikings leading the San Francisco 49ers by a score of 17-7 as the Vikings open their season at home, and Herschel Walker from a yard out gets the touchdown there. The Vikings with the lead by 10 points over the 49ers. Green Bay and Tampa Bay, they are towards the end of the first half now, and the Packers with a 5-0 lead on the Bucs. They're at halftime in Detroit as Miami's Don Shula goes for career win number 300. They're tied at 10. Cincinnati at Cleveland. The Browns with a lead by a safety, 5-3 as they approach halftime in Cleveland. And it's a battle of field goals between New England and the Pittsburgh Steelers. In Pittsburgh, it's 6-6 at halftime. And the NFL Today continues here on CBS after this word from your local station. Welcome back to our New York studio, everyone. The Buffalo Bills take their #1 offense into the Meadowlands against the Jets later this afternoon. And much has been made of the Bills' no-huddle attack. As Jim Kelly told Terry Bradshaw, it all begins when he gets set behind center.
I call the plays. I call the protection by the offensive line. There's some dummy audibles, some dummy calls in case somebody's trying to listen. I would love for a defense to start concentrating on what I'm saying because I can really mess with their mind.
Call me a play. Tell me how you do it.
See, for me to sit here and try to explain it, I could explain it where everybody in the United States would know exactly what I'm calling, when it is, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
But I can.
You can do it for me, though. We won't show it.
No, no problem.
No problem. Just what's the secret to this no-huddle stuff?
Check this out, Greg. Let me show you. The no-huddle offense, let me just put it like this. Number one, there are 3 things it does for you. It gives you the ability to what? Quick strike. And by that I mean there is 1 man in the backfield, 4 receivers, 5 receivers if you count the guy in the backfield. At least one of them will be going deep on every play, so therefore you got the ability to score quickly. Here's what happens. The second point is, number 2, you limit defensive adjustments. And by that, they don't know whether to come in and go with 5 defensive backs, 6 defensive backs, 7 defensive backs. They don't know what to do, and if they're trying to run them in to match up, you snap the ball, get them too many men on the field, and you get a mismatch here and a mismatch there. It really messes up the defensive folks, really confuses them. Number 3 is a real good one. Get this. It also fatigues the opponent, the opposition, the defense. And by that, last week alone, for instance, the Steelers were what? The Buffalo Bills ran 91 plays in a hot day up in Buffalo against the Steeler defense, which had only given up 9 touchdown passes in 1996 this day would Kelly throw against the Steelers. So fatigue is another factor. Now, those are 3 things Ted Marchibroda told me. I added the 4th. This is my best one right here. Control. The quarterback has complete control of the offense. He knows when to run it, when to pass, and he knows what the adjustments are. He knows when he's hot. Kelly knows he's hot. He knows if he can pull his left guard, pull the right guard, whether the right side's weak and the left side's strong. He knows if he can go to this side or that side, and he just knows when to go deep. Total control of the offense. And boy, that's a quarterback's dream, Greg. Good stuff,
In another life, you're going to be somebody's English teacher. Right now, time to send you back to the stadium and the game you're watching here on CBS.
All right, Greg, and our halftime activities will continue after this message. You are watching the NFL on CBS.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why more people are winning with the heartbeat of America. Little Caesars Pizza, where you always get 2 great pizzas for 1 low price. And by Levi's Dockers. Relax, you're among friends.
Full house on hand at the Metrodome, where they have enjoyed the Minnesota Vikings 17-point explosion in the second quarter. Minnesota comes from behind and they lead now by 10 as we get ready for the second half. They did so with turnovers, particularly Audrey McMillan's turnover at the 2, and then a 98-yard drive. Great ball control in that drive by Minnesota.
Well, and the Vikings have done that well this year. They've had a lot of long drives, and the credit has to go to this new offense. And Wilson is really in control. 98 yards, the quarterback has to play perfectly and get a lot of support. When you have receivers like Hassan Jones and Chris Carter and Anthony Carter, and we haven't even talked about the tight end Steve Jordan yet, they're hitting on that old all cylinders deal.
Well, statistically, let's see what happened in the first 30 minutes of action here in week 3. In the second quarter, 169 yards to 61 in favor of Minnesota. Yards after the catch, 46-yard touchdown reception by Anthony Carter, and they also have the lead in time of possession. Watch Carter's catch.
Well, just heads-up play. He knows that his knee never hits the ground, and the 49ers were complaining a lot about it, but you know, by use of instant replay, we found out that this was a correct call again by the men on the field. But it's just a real pleasure to watch, as it's a heads-up play, and it also is rewarded as he gets hit at about the 10-yard line, and yet at only 175 pounds is strong enough to straight-arm Kevin Lewis and get in the end zone.
Anthony Carter with 3 catches in the first half, and Wade Wilson has spread it around. Among his 12 completions, he has thrown it to 5 different receivers. Jerry Rice, 2 catches for 45 yards. He did get his 83rd touchdown of his career, and apparently had one in the end zone, but then Steve Young found Audrey McMillan instead of Jerry Rice, and that set up the 98-yarder.
Yeah, the game within the game, and it's only half over.
Well, in the back of your minds, if you're a 49er fan, keep this in mind. They have been one of the great road teams in the history of the NFL until their loss a week ago Monday night in the opener. They had a heck of a streak alive. They also are a great come-from-behind team, and that has held true on the road. They trail now 17-7.
And although last week they were ahead of the Chargers at halftime, George Seifert laid into his ball club pretty good, and got him fired up. I don't think that George had to raise his voice in the locker room this afternoon at halftime, because his team is not playing poorly. They're just up against a team that is hot.
We asked George what he said to his team at halftime. He said, well, I just reverted to some San Francisco street language.
And he was a little hoarse, and he blamed it on a cold. I got to believe that that cold and that hoarseness had its roots in that locker room at halftime.
Seifert in his 3rd year now as the coach, 33-6. And that includes postseason play, back-to-back seasons of 14-2 and 14-2. Now, one other note about the 49ers. If they lose here, they begin the season 1 win and 2 defeats. The last time that happened was 1982, the strike season, when they missed the playoffs with a 3-6 record.
And it doesn't get any easier for them. They got the Rams at home next week, but then they got to go to LA and play those Raiders.
Mike Kofer will kick off. We're underway with quarter number 3. Darren Nelson down at the 21-yard line. 19 yards on the return. And the Viking offense that controlled the ball for 11 minutes and 29 seconds of the second quarter comes on the field. And very good numbers for Wilson.
Well, the big number is, what do you average per attempt? That's 10 yards. I can figure that one out, Vern. That's outstanding.
Math major at Oregon, right?
Minor, not minor. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot about the physics major, right?
Well, in my off time, extra classes.
1st and 10. Wilson, short drop. Hassan Jones, 4th catch. And Romanowski makes the tackle. Well, there's one of the things about this 3-receiver set. You've got Bill Romanowski, the linebacker, covering Hassan Jones, the wide receiver.
And the 49ers, they promised us a peso defense, and yet they haven't gotten to it yet. They haven't used the 6 defensive backs. What they're doing is keeping 59 DeLong in there, and their regular base defense so far.
Is it possible in the locker room that the peso defense was devalued?
Even more than the peso itself, probably.
Walker to the 27-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
And a lot of this offense for the Vikings is a check with me system, where Wilson will get the signal from the sidelines, and then he'll look at the 49er defense and decide whether to run or to pass at the line of scrimmage. And this is the big innovation that Mark Trestman has given this ball club this year. And he's working in concert with offense coordinator Tom Moore, and they're doing a heck of a job.
Minnesota 4 of 6 thus far on 3rd down conversions. Blitz coming. Listen, the hot receiver is Jordan, and he appears to have gotten the 1st down. 5 of 7 3rd down conversions.
And a 1st down here because of the hot receiver principle. This is Jordan. Once this guy goes, Jordan has to look to the inside. Wilson has his eyes on him as well. Watch the blitz by Romanowski. And now David Whitmore a little bit late coming up. What a fantastic grab by Steve Jordan for the 1st down.
And you could really see him, Dan, look back at Wade the minute that Romanowski came on the blitz. 1st and 10. Hassan Jones in motion. Play fake by Wilson. Incomplete for Carter, and Carter, I think, felt the presence of David Waymer coming up, because that was catchable. Here is Waymer, who, as we said, is playing on a very bad ankle. He had to go for acupuncture treatment yesterday.
Watch Charles Haley here as he comes on his normal rush, and watch the treatment he gets from number 84, Hassan Jones. This is a heck of a job by Jones, just giving Wilson enough time to throw a perfect pass that Chris Carter drops. But part of this one back offense is one of those receivers has to help out in pass protection as well.
2nd down and 10. And the whistle. Well, the play is still going. It was not whistled dead. So Walker picks up about 5.
And the 49ers were offside. So
make it 8.
This will bring up an interesting decision for the Vikings. Do you want it 3rd and 2, or do you want it 2nd and 5? Wilson with the hard count is going to get Michael Carter again, number 95, as he's trying to get off early against Loudermilk. A little ballet step there, trying to avoid that contact. But heads up by Herschel Walker, keeps running with the ball. This is a decision they're trying to make here. You take the play or you take the penalty.
They have decided to take the play, I think, or the penalty, I beg your pardon. Taking them a while to make the decision.
Well, it's a tough decision because you're only 2 yards from a first down on third down, but you get an extra down by accepting the penalty. Now it's 2nd and 5. These are the decisions you look over to the sidelines and the coaches are giving you the old deer in the headlights look. Blank.
2nd down and 5. Chris Carter starts in motion. Wilson. He's got a first down at the 45. That did not appear to be a design quarterback draw.
No, he saw the Red Sea part right up the middle and took off. But how would Fran Tarkenton do in this offense, you know, with his ability to run with the ball? In fact, this offense has some roots that go way back to when Tarkenton and Chuck Foreman was the great tailback for the Vikings. They used him in a similar situation when the Vikings had Ahmad Rashad and Sammy White on the outside.
1st and 10, Minnesota, 12:04 to go, third quarter. They fake the reverse again. And Walker gets the handoff at left guard over Randall McDaniel. Jammed up after a gain of a couple. Giants finally get on the scoreboard, and Philadelphia rolling over Dallas at Texas Stadium.
What inning was that Green Bay Tampa game in? 5-0. Huh?
Bottom of the 6th. How about this? Here's the other one. Cleveland 5-3. Second down. Wilson out of the tackle of Haley. Gets another brush block from Anthony Carter and picks up about 3 yards. Well, we were talking about baseball scores. There's a big game going on in Atlanta. Let's check in with Greg Gumbel.
Well, Vern, in Atlanta, Sid Bream's 10th home run of the year is a big one with the bases full in the bottom of the 1st inning off Dodger pitcher Ramon Martinez. Atlanta starts the day leading L.A. by a half game in the National League West. They're in the top of the 2nd now, 5-0 Braves, Vern.
All right, Greg, from the shadows, it doesn't appear they'll have a rain delay today.
Grand slammer in the 1st inning.
Tomahawks were out. 3rd and 7. They've got another one. Chris Carter. Oh, he almost lost it when he came back in his attempt to gain additional yardage, but that will be good enough for the first down. Kevin Lewis with the tackle.
Well, you're not kidding, Vern. As he catches the ball, if he falls down right where he is, he has the first down. But they've had so much success running with the ball after the catch. I think that's what Carter has on his mind. Should have taken it upfield right there, would have guaranteed the first down. As it is, they're going to have to call for a measurement.
Chris Carter, 6'3", 194, put on waivers by Buddy Ryan in Philadelphia. And almost simultaneously, the Vikings have been trying to sneak Leo Lewis through on waivers, and he was claimed by Cleveland. So they had an opening. Carter was there. They took him, and they do get the first down.
Boy, and is he a happy dude, because that is really one of those cardinal sins for a receiver. Heck, he had the first down by 2 yards when he caught the ball.
So the conversion rate for Minnesota, outstanding, 6 of 8.
And they're staying on schedule. They're getting normal down and distance situations.
This is Wilson calling the play at the line. Walker. And Herschel is knocked backwards as he gets to the 45. Keith DeLong with the tackle. Mark Trestman, they send in the formation and then the play.
And what Wilson is counting is 6 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that says run. He's going to give the ball to Herschel. But he's got to have this offensive line produce now. Young, or DeLong, is right there, as is Michael Walter, and they stuffed that run that time.
Wade Wilson said yesterday, if we can't run against 6 men, we don't deserve to win. They didn't that time. 2nd down and 9. Roberts, that's going to be called back for holding. Tipped away by Kevin Lewis. Larry Roberts was held, and it looked like it might have been Tim Irwin, the right tackle.
Good call, Vern. Irwin got out there and dragged down the defender.
Now here's Pat Haggerty. That's it, Pat.
Holding, number 76. Offense, still 2nd down.
Well, Irwin doesn't have much of a case, even though he is a lawyer. Left side of the screen, working against Larry Roberts. And what happened there is that Kalis pushes the man into him and brushes him off. But this is a nice play at the end of this play as Lewis just sells out and swats that ball with his left hand.
5th penalty against the Vikings, and that brings up a 2nd down and 20. Fumble. That is a loose ball. And Minnesota does recover after the sack. It's Irwin trying to make amends for the holding call.
Well, we talked about the 49ers rotating their front line here. Holt is a regular in there, but this is Roberts from the left side and Brown right up the middle. And they're performing a lot better this time than they did earlier in the first half. Heads up play by Irwin. Of course, he's got to be heads up. His man was the guy that caused the fumble.
Wade Wilson shaken up and coming out, and Rich Gannon has taken his spot. Wilson, who, as we said earlier, was injured in the game, 3rd game of last year. Here's Gannon, took over as the starter and has struggled this summer. Walker on 3rd and 9 yards. I mean 3rd and 90 yards will bring up the punt.
That's
There's
kind
Wilson.
of a concession call because of the starting quarterback being out there. Very difficult down and distance situation for a starter, but you bring a guy in cold, that's probably a good call. Give it to Herschel and see what he can get out of it.
Wilson checks his left elbow. That's Sean Salisbury, the 3rd string quarterback, sitting to his left. So now John Taylor waits for the punt of Harry Newsom on 4th down. That is a dandy. Taylor at the 14. A bump, but no flags. And Taylor still up.
Shot, Sid.
Boy, you can hear the hooting and hollering on that 49ers sideline. Nice shot, Sid.
They're talking about Harry Sidney.
You bet.
A 52-yard punt, but 21 on the return.
This is a special teamer's worst nightmare come true. Pat Eiler's number 24 from the right side of the screen. Harry Sidney, number 24, and see ya.
No, he didn't.
That's for sure.
Which was the problem. There's Pat Eiler, 2nd year from Notre Dame. And now the 49ers' first offensive play of the 2nd half. Young with a handoff to Henderson on the sweep. Mike Merriweather and Henry Thomas combined for the tackle. And then Joey Brown comes up with a thank you.
You know, Newsom is averaging about 50 yards per punt this year. And if you do that against the 49ers and you got Taylor back there, you're out kicking your coverage and you're just asking for trouble.
You need the hang time more than the distance, right?
Absolutely, and especially in a dome where the wind is no factor. Kick the ball as high as possible. Forget that deep punt.
Harry Newsom, 2nd year as the punter here. 2nd down, 7:10 to go in the 3rd quarter. Henderson goes in motion. Young goes left side. Henderson has the catch. A fumble on the play. There's also a flag down, so a lot of things happening here, including a continuing scramble. Two of them, Browner.
Yeah, but who's got the ball?
Williams. Yeah, that's away from the ball.
Give us a call, ref. Must be Henderson at the bottom of the pile. No call.
A lot of things to unravel here.
Yeah, this one's all coming back, though.
Holding number 61, offense.
That's Jesse Sapola, the center. Who will plead his case. Joe Montana and George Seifert. Look at this. Minnesota has held the ball. This is since the first quarter. A little more than 4 times as many minutes as the 49ers.
And the key, of course, was that huge 98-yard drive the Vikings had, but that only took about 7 minutes. 98 yards, that should take you, a day or two.
Second down and 16. 6:45 to go. Quarter number 3. Young for Rathman. Ray Berry makes the tackle. Nice open field stop by the middle linebacker. Next Sunday, doubleheader excitement for you on CBS. Most of you will see the Vikings take on the Saints, or the Redskins battle the Bengals. Then, in the second half of the doubleheader, classic matchup, the Rams and the 49ers. Last year, they split their 2 meetings, and they meet for the first time this season next week on CBS.
And the Dolphins and the Lions are tied at 10-10. Don Shula still on hold for win number 300.
3rd and 9, 4 wide receiver offense. Young got the first down. A gain of 11.
Well, the first guy misses, and there's no second guy there to clean him up, Vern. Young does a nice job of stepping up into the pocket, then taking off. But watch the dive here by Al Noga. He doesn't quite get him, and now this is just another running back loose in the secondary. Just happens to wear a quarterback's number. Good hustle by John Randall, though, going down in the secondary and making the tackle.
Gain of 11 for Young. Second time he's run today. He's picked up 15 yards. 1st and 10, 49ers. Harry Sidney gets the call this time, and Merriweather goes up around the shoulders to make the tackle. Ken Clark was down low, number 71.
In talking to the Viking defense about Young's running ability, they said it's very important for them as defenders, secondary men, and cornerbacks, linebackers to stay on their man in the secondary until Young crosses the line of scrimmage, because they don't want him running to the line of scrimmage and then throwing the bomb to Rice or Taylor. So they're going to let Young get that far, and then they're going to treat him like a running back and really lay into him.
2nd and 7. 4:30 to go, 3rd quarter. Vikings lead it 17-7. Young back. Comes right, tight end Jamie Williams. That's another San Francisco first down at the 28-yard line. Gain of 22.
Well, a way to keep pressure off you is to get back in a hurry and get rid of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This ball's gone to a wide open receiver. There's nobody near the quarterback, and it's a big first down for San Francisco as Jamie Williams picks up his second grab.
2 catches for 34 yards for Williams. Now Sidney and Tom Rathman in the backfield.
Another reason he got his haircut, Burns got tired of the opponents yelling at him, telling him to get one.
That's right. Harry Sidney. And there's a little Anthony Carter move. If you were with us in the first half, Sidney's feet or knees never touched the ground. His feet obviously did. Get that corrected right away.
Well, he just keeps those feet a-churning. This is very similar to what Anthony Carter did in the first quarter. There's the hit, but he never goes down. The knees never hit the turf, and he picks up an extra 5 yards.
2nd down and 5. Sidney again. That is another San Francisco first down.
Well, and right now the 49er offensive line's doing a super job of just outmanning the front line of the Vikings. The Vikings front four are undersized as far as the normal standard in the NFL. And those big guys up front, Roy Foster, Jesse Sapolo, and Guy McIntyre, doing a nice job for Harry Sidney the last couple of ones.
Sidney gets a rest now. Rathman is also out. Henderson comes back in. Jerry Rice and John Taylor, the wideouts. Henderson with Sapolu's cut block clearing the way. And Keith Henderson is down at the 10-yard line. Browner and Henderson have at each other verbally, and complement that with some physical stuff.
This is an unusual play where the center gets out and leads the running back to the outside. You don't see centers pulling like this very often, but remember, Jesse Sapolo has played some guard, and there's the perfect timing. Great patience by Henderson, setting up that block and getting up into the secondary. There's a little face-to-face there, getting their cattle guards caught together.
2nd and 2. Fumble! Viking ball! Ray Berry with the recovery.
Good penetration by the Viking defensive line here. There's Henry Thomas at the bottom and somebody from the left side, and Berry's down on all fours to get it for the Vikings. This is number 71, 35-year-old Ken Clark. Watch his right hand here swat this ball out of Keith Henderson's grasp. Ball's on the ground, and Ray Berry has it. This is only Ken Clark's 189th game of his career.
Only. 2nd turnover for the 49ers. This one comes at the 11. Toss to Herschel Walker on the sweep. And he is cut down at the 14-yard line by Michael Carter. We are at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. 1:24 to go, 3rd quarter. Vern Lundquist along with Dan Fouts. The 49ers jumped off to a 7-0 lead. Minnesota stormed back with 17 second quarter points. We've had no scoring here in the 3rd period. It's 17-7 Vikings. Wade Wilson, out for one play, is back in. Chris Carter has the catch, but he's only at the 17-yard line. Johnny Jackson makes the tackle.
Now the 49ers are going to bring that peso in.
Here's the peso, huh?
Yeah, 6 defensive backs, plus number 38, Greg Cox. Although he wears a receiver or defensive back type of number, he really is a linebacker. And he's a guy that's really made it good use of the plan B, going coast to coast to New York and back.
Now you see Whitmore, number 41, and Waymer, number 43. Waymer back at his old position of cornerback now. He's matched up with Hassan Jones. On the other side, Kevin Lewis and Chris Carter. Wilson, right side, timing pattern with Hassan Jones, and he threw it behind him, and right there was David Waymer. He said yesterday he had to go get the acupuncture, and he really longed for a treatment of red mud and vinegar.
Yeah, from North Carolina, too. He wouldn't take just any old red mud either. It had to be from his hometown. But he was in a walking cast on Monday, didn't practice Tuesday, didn't practice Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday. He's got a bad left ankle, and the worst thing for a guy with a bad ankle is to play on this plastic grass. He's having a heck of an afternoon.
It's not a great thing for people to play on this plastic stuff with good ankles. Newsom, he has outkicked his coverage by a ton. Here's Taylor. Flag is down. They may bring this one back. But Dan, I go back to the point you made on the last punt. Harry Newsom is out punting his coverage.
And it doesn't make any sense when you've got probably the most dangerous punt returner in football in John Taylor. This one's coming back because of a penalty against the 49ers, but if the referees don't see it, This really hurts the
Illegal block
Vikings.
in the back. Number 41 on the return.
Well, that's a 57-yard punt for Newsom. A 47-yard return that has been negated by a penalty. That's the end of the third quarter. We begin the final quarter. The Minnesota Vikings up by 10, just as they were at halftime. 49ers, after the penalty, have a first down and 10. Chris Carter still doing some explaining on the sidelines.
You know, we expected this game to be a high-scoring game, but even though it's 17-7, we've had so much action offensively and defensively. So maybe the two defensive teams here today took some exception to the media talking about a high-scoring ball game.
Rich Gannon and Chris Carter looking on. Here come the 49ers. Steve Young with fine figures thus far, 11 of 17 for 169 yards. Young, John Randall makes the tackle. Number 93, a one-time free agent defensive tackle from Texas A&I.
And another undersized guy at only about 245 pounds, but what he has is outstanding speed. There's the first guy missing, Hank Thomas, and there's the second guy getting Young.
Goes back to what Chris Dolman said yesterday. The first guy won't get him. The second guy should be the one. Here's Young.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Sherrard starts in motion. Across the middle, short of the first down. Jamie Williams with yet another catch. Well, let's find out what's going on elsewhere in the league. Back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Over at Soldier Field in Chicago, here come the Giants. They got a field goal to open the second half, and now Rodney Hampton, a 6-yard run. They close to 13-10 with 10 seconds to play in the third in Chicago. Let's go back to the Metrodome. Vernon Dam.
Well, we thought that would be close. It is. We thought this one would be close. It is. 10 points separate the two teams. 3rd and 1. Harry Sidney. That will be very, very close. Mike Merriweather with a tackle. And a right foot spot by John Alderton, the line judge.
And Jerry Rice is one of the better blocking receivers in football, but on this one, he's got no clue. Number 80 in motion here, and watch who meets him right in the back. There's Rathman has to get out of his way, and that causes Merriweather to come in and make that stop there. If Rice, either the timing was off on that play or he was confused as to who to block, that's a big play for Minnesota.
And a decision now for George Seifert. 4th and a foot at the 43 in the 4th quarter.
And this will be the first time the 49ers have gone for it on 4th down this year.
Rathman and Sidney are the setbacks. Sidney. Ray Berry's hit denies him the first down. But did he get it with extra effort? Berry had him stopped. But this might be enough to move the chain.
They ran the exact same play, got better timing out of the motion man Rice that time, but the Vikings had to get a read on it because Berry was in the backfield when he first made contact with Sidney.
First down, San Francisco.
Take a look at it. Number 50 is Ray Berry, and he gets through the hole but can't make the tackle. Sidney, 220 pounds. Great second effort for the first down.
So it'll be first down as Ray Berry unable to complete the stop. He had made the stop. 12:53 to go in the game. 49ers trail by 10. Wesley Wall starts in motion and Young goes back to throw. Run pass option. And Jerry Rice Might have gotten away with a block in the back. I don't know if contact was made. It was close.
I talked to Mike Holmgren about Young, and every time he runs the ball, what's his first reaction? He says, well, it's like any quarterback. I do hold my breath. This is Henry Thomas down on the turf. Looks like he sprained his ankle. But Young is just an extraordinary runner with great speed. Just outruns Henry Thomas. And he gets his ankle by his own man there. That's that Rice rush block.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Here's Jerry Rice sporting the low sock look. First of all, he gets open in the secondary, but by this time Young is already running. He's made up his mind, but Rice gets away with a clip here on the outside as he pushes Reggie Rutland at the last second.
Henry Thomas out of the lineup with an injured ankle. And here is Harry Sidney fighting his way for yardage to the 40, and then a flag comes flying. That'll be against San Francisco. Gain of 8. Pat Haggerty. Henry Thomas injured on that scramble by Steve Young, bothered by a sore right ankle through much of preseason in the first couple of weeks, and is back on the bench now.
Holding. Number 62. Offense.
Guy McIntyre. There's Henry Thomas.
Well, you don't want to be a skeptic or anything, but it seems like when they miss a play on the side at one time, the next play goes against the other team.
He doesn't have the red mud. That may be vinegar he just threw on it. He's got the Dave Waymer treatment there. Henry Thomas from LSU. It's an old Louisiana remedy.
Yes, it is.
Poured the stuff on it. Second down, 11 after the holding call on McIntyre. Young. Oh, boy. Guess who? A gain of 19. If he doesn't bobble it and then grab it, he was gone.
Well, you would think so. This is real good coverage again by a defensive back, but Young puts the ball perfectly to the left shoulder of Rice, and the great concentration of this all-world receiver. Those big white gloves. He was close to going all the way again.
3 catches for the day, 1 touchdown. That was the first score of the afternoon. 3 for 64 and a TD for Jerry Rice. First and 10, 49ers, 11:15 to go in the game. Young. Wesley Walls wide open at the 17-yard line. Joey Browner, the defensive man closest to him.
Well, this ball is going to come end over end, it looks like, from Steve Young. Throwing to the right side of the field for one of the few times today. Gets his shoulder open pretty good, but this one is going to have a real weird spin on it. But Walls is so wide open. Browner just a little bit late on the coverage.
That is the first catch of the season for Wesley Walls. And the 49er drive kept alive when they went for it on 4th and 1. Is given new life with a 1st and 10 on the Walls catch. Into the flat, Harry Sidney. One-on-one with Merriweather. A flag is also down. This one could come back.
I think they're going to get Roy Foster, number 67. He pulled down Ken Clark. And another penalty against the 49ers. But Young is operating very smoothly right now. He's the second best left-handed quarterback to ever play for the 49ers, Vern.
Second best?
Frankie Albert.
Holding. Number 67 offense. Still first down.
This is number 67, Roy Foster, here working against 71, Ken Clark. And Clark, with the good explosion up inside the gap there, was taken down by Roy Foster.
1st and 20. Pressure from the left side. Catch made by Sanjay Beach, number 86. And he shakes the Carl Lee tackle and picks up an additional 11 yards. Lee had him. Sanjay Beach, a free agent a year ago from Ohio State, from Colorado State.
Well, you talk about the missed tackle of Ray Berry on 4th and 1. This may be an even bigger missed tackle because this would have been about a 1-yard gain for Sanjay Beach, but he shakes off Carl Lee right here. That might even have been in the backfield.
Steve Young has spread it around today. 9 different players with the reception. 2nd and 10. Harry Sidney. Merriweather. Montana and Seifert.
And Merriweather right here. Watch him shoot the gap here, make the big hit on Harry Sidney. He had 8 solo tackles last week, 11 the week before, and he makes a big stop on Sidney that time.
9:10 to go in the ball game. 49ers trail 17-7. They have a 3rd and 10 from the Viking 18-yard line. Blitz coming. Young lets it go incomplete. Intended for John Taylor. Pressure coming from Merriweather and friends.
And that's the key, Vern. Not so many times sacks. The Vikings haven't had a whole lot this year, but they're getting outstanding pressure on Young this afternoon.
Inside the 20 today, 1 touchdown, 2 turnovers. And now Kofor will try and bring the 49ers to within 7. 35-yard effort. Moshenko will hold. There was something funny about that. It's blocked and picked up by Solomon Wilcots of the Vikings. But did you notice Moshenko wave it off just before the snap? We'll return to the Metrodome after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The other Vikings, and then at the end of this, they tell him, son, you got to lay out if you're going to block it. And that's what he does.
Yeah. On the sidelines, George Seifert. That passes for anger for Seifert.
We didn't even get any San Francisco street talk out of him. Come on, George, lighten up.
8:09 to go, 2nd down, 11. Chris Carter in motion. Play fake, caught by Hassan Jones. And he is out to the 11, perhaps the 12-yard line. Kevin Lewis makes the tackle.
Hassan Jones wears about a size 12, and Lewis was hanging on to every inch of that foot.
Mark Trestman signals in the formation. And then Wade Wilson makes the call at the line.
Again, what he's doing is he's counting how many men are close to the line of scrimmage. If there are too many, he's going to put it up. If they're not enough, he's going to give it to Herschel to run it.
What do we got here?
Yeah, it's 3rd and 5. This is a pass all the way.
9 men up for the 49ers defensively, and Walker does not get the first down.
He's outnumbered. You've got to throw the ball in that situation. That's the basis of the offense, is if you have too many men up on the line of scrimmage, you don't have enough linemen and tight end to make the blocks to spring Herschel. Got to throw that one.
Didn't, paid the cost. Wilson and the offense give it up, and Harry Newsome. Now this has been a problem the last 2 times out. Newsome with this gaudy statistic, but he has outkicked his coverage. And John Taylor last time had a 47-yard punt return, wiped out by penalty. See if Newsome sends this one a little higher and shorter. No, he does not. Taylor does a little tap dance down the sideline and is ruled out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Audrey McMillan with the tackle, a 13-yard punt return of a 51-yard kick.
This game summary is sponsored by Coors Light.
Thus far, the 49ers have turned it over twice inside the Minnesota 15. One pass interception, another blocked field goal. The Vikings excellent on third down conversions, and Wade Wilson with a very solid afternoon. 196 yards and a touchdown. Herschel Walker, 88 total yards, 62 of those on the ground. And the 49ers, who have not started 1 and 2 since 1982, trail now, having not scored since the first quarter. They opened up a 7-0 lead. Young across the middle for Jamie Williams, the tight end. He's got it at the 50, and then Ray Berry has him.
And you think back to that blocked field goal. If that's not blocked and it goes through, we got a 7-point game. But it was, and it's a 10-point game in just 6 minutes to go.
Second down at the 50. Steve Young, 16 of 23 for 234. 2nd and 3. Got him. John Randall.
Well, most sacks are a team effort by the front four and the secondary. Watch as Young's looking for Jerry Rice, can't find him, and now the pocket collapses and all four get in on the tackle. Here's Rice on the outside, and Young just can't seem to find him. Rutland is with him, as good as you could possibly be.
It'll be third down. This is a Minnesota team that had 71 sacks in 1989. That declined to 46 last year. They have 2 this afternoon, 4 for the season. Almost 5. Young has a first down at the 44. Ken Clark caught up with him.
Yeah, and something else is gonna catch up to Steve Young. You hate to say it, but you just can't, as a quarterback, run with this reckless abandon. You have to protect your body. You've got to give your team a chance to have you in the lineup for the entire year. And right now, with Montana's status uncertain, Young's got to take better care of himself.
Rathman. Flags all over the field.
The Vikings have 12 men on the field. That's one way of stopping them. These refs, they can count. Right, Pat?
12 men on defense.
Scott Studwell on the sideline. Retired last year after 14 seasons as the middle linebacker.
Decline, first down.
Of the Minnesota Vikings. So the penalty.
But, you know, getting back to Steve Young and his running, it's so inherent in his behavior and the way he plays that I don't think he'll ever be broken of the habit of diving forward and getting that first down.
First down after the penalty, 1st and 10 at the 33. 4:27 remaining. 49ers down by 10. Young. Good pop from behind by Joey Browner. And that makes ineffective the attempted pass.
Well, part of being a black belt is explosion. Watch at the end of this play as Joey Browner explodes into the back of Jerry Rice. Perfect timing and the left hand just as the ball arrives.
2nd and 10. Rathman chased by Berry. Caught by McMillan and dropped. That's going to be close.
And we're seeing just outstanding effort today by everybody. Rathman was met by Berry. about 3 yards from where he finally landed. What a pop. And that's what champions are made of, and this is a proud bunch of champions from San Francisco.
Just short.
They don't have all that jewelry for nothing.
Let's go, Bird! Let's go, Bird! Let's go!
Just short of the first down with 4:01 remaining in the ball game. Sellout crowd at the Met in Minneapolis. The Vikings home opener, they opened on the road at Chicago and then at Atlanta. And they lead Joe Montana and George Seifert and the rest of the 49ers 17-7. With 4 minutes to go. The clock has started again. Third short. Rathman has a first down at the 20.
Now Young wants to get his team on the line of scrimmage in the 49ers version of the no huddle, the hurry-up offense. And what's kind of unusual is the 49ers in this situation stay with their 2 backs in the game. They don't bring in extra wide receivers because Young and Montana feel more comfortable this way.
Young, Felix Wright, Jerry Rice. Touchdown, San Francisco.
Yeah, why not be comfortable with just Jerry Rice and John Taylor in the game? When you can throw a 10-yard out pattern to Jerry Rice and he can cut it up inside, and nobody knows where the goal line is any better than that guy.
Second touchdown today for Jerry Rice. He had 3 last week. 84 for his career.
That ball was real close to being intercepted.
That's why I mentioned Felix Wright's name first. I thought he had a beat on it. And then Browner with a missed tackle. Kofor with the extra point to bring the 49ers to within 3. (17-14), Minnesota leads.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by the U.S. Army, where you get an edge on life. Be all you can be. The Upjohn Company. If you're concerned about hair loss, see your doctor. And by Coors Light, the Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
Back for the kickoff. Steve Young's 21-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Rice has put the 49ers to within 3 points. Mike Kofor will kick off. Darren Nelson, the deep man of 3, grabs it at the 7. And is down at the 23-yard line. Greg Cox with the tackle. Vikings have the ball. 3:11 remaining in the ball game.
Working to be the best they can be. Teammates, sponsored by the U.S. Army. The Cowboys' return as contenders is built with developing stars. Troy Aikman arrived in '89 and in 2 seasons has become the best young quarterback in the game. In 1990, Aikman was joined by Emmitt Smith, who made the Pro Bowl in his first professional season. As individuals, Smith and Aikman are key elements in the Dallas resurgence. Together as teammates, they make the Cowboys the best they can be.
Minnesota hangs on to a 3-point edge with 3:11 remaining against the 49ers, but they need to get their offense in gear. 32 yards of offense in the second half.
And this is where their offense, their new offense, is really going to be tested. They haven't been in this situation where they have to protect the lead. We'll see how this 3 wide receiver, 1 running back offense does here. 49ers have all their regulars in there. And how many times have we seen this? The Niners coming from behind.
Chris Dolman being treated for cramps as his calf's on ice. 1st and 10. Reverse to Anthony Carter. Herschel Walker leading the way. AC on the loose. Chris Carter in front.
Well, Vern, you said they only had 32 yards in the second half. I think this is a 32-yarder right here. And this is no longer just a one-back offense. This is a couple of times now they've run the reverse to AC. They got a lot out of it last week with a touchdown against Atlanta, and that's just a huge play for the huge playmaker, Anthony Carter.
On that one play, Dan, they did indeed equal the number of yards they had in the second half. A 32-yarder for Anthony Carter, forcing the 49ers to call timeout.
And it really had to be the last thing the 49ers were expecting. They were expecting Herschel to just pound away at the middle, take some time off the clock, but this 32-yarder gets the Vikings out of a hole, and it gets them in position now to where the 49ers are going to have to use their timeouts before the 2-minute warning.
2:55 remaining in the ball game. Gary Zimmerman comes up, and again the same formation, the three wide receivers all to the left side, the short side of the field. Anthony Carter in motion. This time they give it to Herschel Walker, and he bangs it inside the 40, down at the 37. Timeout, 49ers. They use their second.
Well, it's kind of a feather and sledgehammer offense so far. This is the sledgehammer right up the middle.
It's what?
Well, Carter's that feather, you know. He's tickling them, and Herschel's knocking them out.
The feather and sledgehammer, George Seifert's team, has called timeout, and the 49ers have one left, 2:47 to go in the ball game. Minnesota trying to avert a start equal to last year when they were 1-4, and as we said, the 49ers have not been 1-2 after 3 games since 1982.
You know, it's so great about this game. We talked about the game within the game, the superstar Jerry Rice and the superstar Anthony Carter, and Carter just answered Rice's touchdown with a beautiful run on the reverse.
That gain of 32 set up the Vikings, and they're now trying to eat away at the clock. 2:47 remaining in the game. Walker down at the 35, 36-yard line. It'll be third down. Don't forget, coming up, the NFL Today postgame show. Greg and Terry will have you updated on all the scores, highlights, and the latest information.
49ers are going to save their last timeout. They know that the 2-minute warning will be the next thing that will stop the clock.
Game clock shows 2:15, and the 45-second clock 4 seconds away from that. So our next point will be the play stoppage at the 2-minute warning. Time has been called. The 49ers trail the Vikings by 3. Two minutes to go. Minnesota 17-14 lead. Anthony Carter with a 46-yard touchdown catch and a 32-yard run among his other contributions today. And on the other side, Jerry Rice, 2 TDs.
This is what it's all about. This is what the NFL is all about. The very, very best playing like the superstars they are.
2 to go. 49ers can stop the clock once. 3rd and 1. McDaniel in the backfield with Herschel Walker. That is a first down.
And the 49ers have to burn that last timeout if they're going to have any hope at all. I think Randall McDaniel has found a home in the backfield. Number 64 is going to clear the way for Herschel. Boy, he just wipes out Michael Walter there, as Walter tried to meet Herschel in midair.
What a block by McDaniel. And Walker with that patented leap over the line of scrimmage that he's been doing since high school days in Riceville, Georgia.
Well, and most offensive linemen have somebody right on their nose when they're blocking. McDaniel says, boy, this is great. I get 4 or 5 yard run at these guys. Walter way up in the air, and he ends up on his back.
If you have ever seen the pile going backwards.
Well, McDaniels is 270, and Walter is only 240, and then you got Herschel at 230. That's a lot of weight for even for a math minor to figure out.
1:55 remaining.
They got to give McDaniel the ball, though. That's the next step in this offense.
He's already asked for it.
We got the one guard offense then.
Now expect Walker to get it.
And the Vikings got away on there because McDaniel stayed in the game, and he's got to come out of the game by rule. You can't change position, go from a receiver or a running back position and play in the offensive line again. So
you're right, and that should be a charged timeout.
Absolutely.
So they did indeed get it. That's the second time in as many weeks that I have seen that happen. And McDaniel got away with it.
And now we're going to get the old fall down, and the Vikings have a heck of a victory in their home opener.
McDaniel stays in. Minnesota, barring Joe Pisarcik play here, is going to go to 2-1. And for the first time since 1982, the 49ers will fall to 1-2. $50 seconds to go.
Well, let's watch from the right side of the screen. McDaniel again. He meets Mike Walter, and again he wins the battle. Now by rule, he's got to come out of the game, but he's staying in there. But this time he's staying in as a running back or blocking back.
Coming up, the post-game show, scores and highlights with Greg and Terry. And this will be the final play of the game. So for the second time in as many trips, the 49ers have to go home minus a victory. They are not used to that. Wade Wilson, 17 of 24 for 199 yards today. And a blocked field goal proves to be the difference in the fourth quarter.
With all the superstars making plays, it was a rookie, Todd Scott, 6th-round draft pick, blocked that field goal and gave the Vikings the 3-point win.
There goes the most superstitious man in captivity, Jerry Burns. He's going to be happy. He probably found some new coins. Final 17-14. Let's go back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Vern, thanks very much. Boy, that is a huge victory for the Minnesota Vikings. Their home opener, everybody's saying they're expected to really boost this year in the NFC Central, and they come up with a victory over the 49ers.
They needed this. Now they're 2-1 and on a roll.
All right, meanwhile, at the game